Good evening, South Africa. I got that one right today. Kept mixing up the afternoons and the evenings. Welcome to Global Education's virtual expo. My name's George. I'm actually sitting from Perth in Western Australia, in our branch here in Australia. We've got a good webinar for you today. To our students in Zimbabwe and South Africa, I'd like to personally thank you for joining us. To all of you that have signed up and receiving this recording, please note that you can get in touch with us and we will have all of University of Bristol's contact details, as well as the information for you readily available after the webinar. Today, we're going to be listening to Matteo, who works with us. He's the International Recruitment Officer at the University of Bristol. It's a beautiful location, beautiful place, a lot of history. You're in for some good information, and just remember that we're here to help. Any questions, put them in the chat box and Q&A section, and we'll get to them just after at the end of the presentation for a little bit of our global discussion. So without further ado, Matteo, screen's yours and enjoy.
That's great. Thank you very much. Let me just see. Okay, see if I can share the screen. Okay. Just to confirm that you can see it. Yep, brilliant. Thank you very much. Okay, welcome everyone. My name is Matteo Beccaria. I am the International Recruitment Officer for Africa here at the University of Bristol. In this hour session, we will talk a little bit about the university. I will tell you as much as I can, as I think is useful. Please do use this time while I'm talking to ask any questions that you may have. There's a questions and answers section in within the Zoom function itself, and I'll be happy to take any Q&A right at the end of this. Obviously, if there's any question that maybe if you watch this recording, or maybe if we finish today's session and you realize, oh, maybe there's something else that I still wanted to ask, you're always welcome to email me. You're always welcome to email the team at international-office@bristol.ac.uk. Okay, so welcome, first of all. The university, in numbers 13 Nobel Prize winners. We are a research intensive university, so top 5th in the UK for research, top 10 in the UK, and just out of, so number 62 in the world compared, according to the QS World University Rankings 2022. And we are very highly rated in Europe in particular for employee reputation. So within the top 20. So we're a very well-known university. We have a history of excellence. So one of the great things to talk about is we were the first university in England to actually admit women on an equal basis to men. So we've always been champions of equality, champions of opportunity, and it's really a place where we will encourage you to be your best and do the best that you can within your further education journey. We're a member of the Russell Group of leading UK universities, and essentially there's a lot of, as I said, there's a lot of research. We really focus on delivering high quality research. So coming here to study, be it at an undergraduate level all the way to postgraduate or so doctorate level, or even postdoctorate level, you'll be working with, or you'll be studying with researchers who really are leaders in their field. So as you can see, over 40% of our tour programs are accredited by their respective professional bodies, for example. So just to give you an overview of our programs, we do have study levels, as I said, everything from undergraduate all the way to postgraduate, postgraduate, so but also pre-sessional, so also foundation programs. So I think that's less relevant maybe for students from South Africa. So just to say that we have over 600 courses and programs across a range of levels, really. Within the university, we are arranged by faculty. So if, for example, you're not quite sure about what you're interested in studying, other than searching for a particular name of a course, the other way to, should we say, explore our website is to go by faculty. So you can start by saying, okay, well, I'm a bit interested in engineering, so I'll look at the faculty of engineering, and then you can drill down by that. So for example, into, I don't know, aerospace engineering or mechanical engineering, and then you can see what sort of specialisms we have, be they at undergraduate or postgraduate level. And there are all sorts of resources, videos, all sorts of materials to really help you understand more about this journey. So as I said, we are very highly ranked in research. 36% of the university's research is rated world leading. We do aim to find practical solutions to global challenges. So we have specialist research institutes, and these are about key strength and depth in specialist subjects. So for example, the Bristol Composites Institute is really interesting. It's based just at the north of Bristol, the manufacturing side, and that's has a lot to do with composite materials, so kind of laminates that perform in a really interesting way because of the way that the materials are structured and put in layers together. We have everything from, for example, the Bristol Poverty Institute, so studying the effects of poverty and the sociological, socio-political things around there. The Bristol Quantum Information Institute, just to name a few. And then we have the University Research Institutes. It sounds a fairly similar name, but actually these ones are the kind of broad theme, multidisciplinary institutes. So an example of this would be, for example, the Cabot Institute for the Environment, where specialist researchers across multiple fields are grouped together in a group of about 400 researchers, all of which have a common theme of essentially be researching for solutions to environmental challenges that obviously, as we all know, are becoming more and more important for everyone around the globe. Okay, so a little bit about our facilities. So we have 9 libraries, and these include study spaces, so and specialist librarians who, of course, can really help you in finding the information that you're looking for, help you to improve your practice of research and study. We have managed study centers, so that includes Beacon House, which is a beautiful building towards the top of a hill where essentially there's a cafe within it, but as you pass the cafe, there are some security doors. So you just tap in the security doors with your U card, the university card, and then there are many, many desks around. So you can just come in between maybe some lectures, in between something else that you were doing during that day, bring in your laptop or bring in a book, sit down for however long you like, maybe a couple of hours, maybe just 20 minutes, do your studying, and then carry on to maybe your next lecture or whatnot. So there are many facilities such as these dotted around the university. As well as that, we have state-of-the-art facilities such as the Life Sciences building, which includes a 5-story laboratory wing, a state-of-the-art greenhouse, and one of the largest teaching labs in the whole of the UK. On top of that, we have fantastic sports facilities. So if you're already keen on sports, if you play rugby, for example, if you play cricket, or if you're really interested in lacrosse, for example, we have all sorts of sports facilities that whereby you can continue practicing your sport, you can learn new sports. We even have a boathouse where our students row on the River Avon, just about half an hour's drive from the university itself. Okay, so careers, as I mentioned earlier, we are one of the top ranked in Europe, so in terms of universities in Europe for reputation. That's top 10 within the UK. So that translates directly to 87% of our non-UK graduates being in work or further study within 15 months of graduating. So as you can see, it's a very, very high percentage. We have a careers service, which is one of the key reasons, aside from, of course, the quality and the ranking of our courses, and obviously the caliber of the student that comes to study here at the university. The careers service is what bridges that gap and really supports you to find work experience, build your portfolio, find out what internships are available maybe during your studies. They can help you in finding a graduate job in the UK. So you may know that some of the best roles are, for example, graduate schemes here in the UK. Getting onto those schemes is very challenging, but obviously it's competitive. Once you're on to one of these graduate training schemes, then it's they are essentially accelerated fast track roles that progress high caliber graduates towards management roles. So I can really, if I can insist on, one of the things I'll insist on today is really look into these kind of opportunities, because getting yourself onto one of these then will really accelerate your career for the future. Aside from that, we also offer the Bristol Plus Award. So that's a structured program whereby we bring in extracurricular activity opportunities for you to volunteer, for you to develop transferable skills throughout your studies. And if you do, if you complete enough of these extracurricular activities, essentially we award you with a written certificate, which is aside from your degree, which essentially only about 10% of Bristol students complete, which says to, obviously to you, but to any future employer, they say this student went above and beyond and went and completed this Bristol Plus Award, which and which they demonstrated, you know, XYZ skills, and as you can see, they're a very employable individual. Okay, so a bit more about careers. So what else we really offer that's so should we say unique is professional mentoring schemes. So in particular within engineering, all first year undergraduates are allocated a discipline specific industrial mentor. So from there, right from the get-go in studying engineering at the University of Bristol, you are already thinking about the work environment. You're already thinking about what sort of companies would employ a graduate from the University of Bristol. In fact, there's this also happens within social sciences and law. So there it's slightly different, and there you will be matched with a professional who's based either in the UK or overseas, who has done your exact subject and is a Bristol alumnus and is now using it in their career. So there you have all sorts of benefits from a mentor-mentee relationship that then you can obviously ask them, okay, how did they go about, you know, getting work experience? How did they go about doing their applications? How did they go about the assessment centers? What did they specialize in? What did they do their dissertation in? All these kind of questions, which would really help you to understand a bit more about the journey that you can take yourself at university and towards your future career. Okay, a little bit about scholarships. So we have £2 million that we are investing in international scholarships for 2022 entry. The awards for undergraduate level study are between £5,000, £10,000 and £20,000. And these are available for all one, I believe, in fact, these, this slide is slightly incorrect, so apologies for that. It should read that they are available for all undergraduate, so undergraduate programs, in fact, of £5,000 to £10,000. That's it. Sorry, I've misread the slide. So the awards for undergraduate scholarships are £5,000 to £10,000. And that does exclude the subjects of medicine, dentistry, and veterinary science, unfortunately. Okay, so to tell you a little bit more about the city of Bristol. So just to say, please don't be shy to use the Q&A function. I can see that there's one question that's possibly come in through the chat. So please do ask any questions during today's presentation. I'll be very happy to answer them at the end. So a little bit about Bristol. It's a fantastic city. I live here myself. I have moved back here essentially for the quality of life and for how fantastic a city it is. It does have over 500 parks and green spaces. If you look at any photo of Bristol from the air, you'll realize just how many trees there are in between the buildings here, how many parks, what a fantastic quality of life there is around here. It's been voted the best place to live outside of London, the coolest UK city, the third most cultural and creative city in the UK. And I'll explain to you maybe a few of the reasons why. Firstly, there are many, many things to do. So it has world-class concert venues. It has historic cities, theatres such as the Bristol Old Vic. It has street art. So you may know the most famous graffiti artist in the world, who's Banksy, of course. Other than that, there's a festival called Upfest, whereby every year the most famous street artists in the world are invited to come to the city and invited to draw on buildings where the owners have obviously given their permission for the artists to come and draw on them. And there are some absolutely fantastic works of art that span whole buildings. And so if you come here as a student or even to visit, then you can walk around the city and give yourself maybe a guided tour of just the most incredible artworks that there are just available on the street for everyone to enjoy. In addition to that, as you can see, one of the pictures down there is it's quite small, but maybe you can see it of people paddleboarding on the harbour side. So you can take advantage of the river and the waterways that there are here in town to learn a bit of that, and maybe to do a bit of rowing, as I mentioned before. There are also lots of events. So dating back to the Victorian times, hot air ballooning has been a passion here in the city. And the photo there is of the annual Bristol Balloon Fiesta, where hot air balloons from all over the UK and perhaps Europe gather, and sometimes there are maybe 100 balloons, maybe 150, that all take off very close to one another, and so all fly over the city together. So it's a really special moment to be in town for. Yes, and obviously it has a very dynamic music scene, as you can see a little picture of here in the bottom right. We also care about the environment quite a lot here in Bristol. So we were a European Green Capital in 2015. We are the UK's first cycling city, so lots of people cycle around here. There's a national cycling charity called Sustrans that's based here in the city, and so there are lots of cycle lanes where you can cycle just with your bicycle, and there's no cars. So it's quite a safe city to cycle in. And we, as a city, aim to become completely carbon neutral by 2030. Okay, so where exactly is Bristol? We are in the southwest of the UK, so I'm not sure if you can see my mouse, but we are about 100 miles from London, so 160 kilometers roughly. We're the 8th largest city in the UK, and we're the largest city in the southwest, which is a tourist destination. So we're quite close to Cornwall and Devon and Wales, which are all beautiful, idyllic areas of rolling hills, beaches. So it is a fairly touristy area around here. So around the city, very beautiful places to travel to. Not much really to say about this slide, other than it's quite easy to fly to other cities around Europe, maybe Rome and Paris and whatnot, and obviously connected by train to the other cities in the UK. In terms of accommodation, we do offer a wide variety of accommodation. So we own and operate about 27 buildings, residential buildings around the city. This map gives a rough idea of where they are. So in grey, the central kind of campus area of the university. And if you like to be as close as possible to your lectures, then I would suggest the East and the West Village. So there's in light blue and red here. And the ones in purple may be a little bit further away, but close to some very big green park areas, as the ones I've been talking about. So maybe just to quickly show you a few of the photos to show the accommodations, the type of rooms that we have in our various accommodations. And as you can see, the social areas here as well, with a pool table or couches to hang out at. We offer an accommodation guarantee. So we will guarantee an offer of accommodation in one of our residences for the first year of study to all UK and overseas undergraduates, as long as you've firmly accepted an offer to study at Bristol, you're coming to study at Bristol for the first time, and obviously you're unaccompanied, so without any dependent family members, spouses, or partners, and you apply by the accommodation deadline. And there's more information about that on our website. This is probably more information than you need. It's just to say that we have a timeline for accommodation, and that happens after you've applied for your courses, of course. So a bit about our students. We're a very multicultural university and city. Our students are from more than 150 countries globally. 1 in 4 students at the University of Bristol is from outside of the UK, and there are 27,000 undergraduates and postgraduate students here at the university. So just to put that in context, the city itself is maybe 500,000 people. There's another university in Bristol called the University of the West of England, and it's roughly the same size as us. So in total, that's about 50,000 students out of a total city population of 500,000. So 10% of the whole city of students, and it's a very young city anyway. So coming here, you really get a vibe of a very young city, a very dynamic city with lots going on and plenty of fun things to do outside of your obviously academic and study life. So to get onto that, being a student at the university, you would be a member of the Students' Union. We have one of the largest ones in the country. The union represents you towards the university and looks out for your interests, and in particular runs 350 clubs and societies and volunteering projects. So this is an opportunity outside of obviously the main focus of your being here, which is your academic success and preparing you for your future career, to, as I said, continue anything that you're interested in, be it sports, a hobby, passion. Maybe you're part of the debating society at school already, and you want to carry on and improve your debating practice at university. It's also a really great opportunity to try new things. So, for example, we have a motorsports club where you could, for example, in a year, maybe go-karting, maybe go 4x4ing, maybe try mini motorbikes. There's a fencing society, as I said, there's a rowing club. There really are, as I said, 350 groups of sports interests and hobbies. So really, there is everything for everyone. And if there's something that hasn't been done or isn't being done by someone, then the Students' Union will support you if you want to set up a new society and bring other people into to a new organization that hasn't already been set up. Lots of spaces dedicated just for students, a bar, a small concert venue, so the Janssen rooms, 2 theaters, there's a swimming pool specifically for students. So really, I could go on, but I realize that there's a limited amount of time today, so I'll crack on. And just to say that we are very keen on supporting you in your journey to the UK and your journey to Bristol. So we have a wealth of support services available to our students. This runs from the student wellbeing service, so that if at any point in your studies you aren't feeling 100%, we have people that you can talk to. You have people within your residences that you can talk to, so the people who are responsible for looking out for that particular residence, you can talk to them about anything maybe not going quite right with your residence, if you have any questions, etc. We have the counseling service. So again, if you have any challenges, there are professionals who you can talk to and can point you in the direction of any helpful services that we can provide. And of course, we do also provide a lot of help with regards to visa and immigration services. So with all regards to the paperwork, with paying your fees, with academic support and all those things, that's all part of the support package that we provide, so that you do have someone and support systems and people and processes that can help you when you need it. Okay, now a little side note to give you a quick update about everyone's favorite subject, the coronavirus. I have one slide about this, which is just to say that you may know we have been one of the leading countries in the world in terms of delivering doses of vaccine to the population. So there's been over 93 million doses of the COVID vaccine have been given in the UK. The National Health Service treatment is available to all COVID-19 patients, regardless of nationality, here in the UK. And we at the university are offering free testing to all students and staff. And any residents in the UK are able to order home testing kits twice per week. So the government really is doing everything it can to support the inoculation and immunization of the population, so that essentially, as you may know, we've gone through a number of lockdowns here in the UK, but now it really does feel like we are returning to normal, to as new of a normal as we can, given that obviously there is still a pandemic going on worldwide. Okay, so what to say about our alumni? We have alumni across 190 countries. It's over 170,000 graduates. By graduating from the University of Bristol, you join this fantastic community of experts and influencers across that are present in every industry sector and in every country worldwide. We have a in-country network and a online network called Bristol Connects, so that you can obviously develop and continue to develop that network that you will first build when you come here, a network of peers within your cohort and within your courses, but of course the peers within where you live, be it in one of the residences, and then also when you graduate, then meeting the peers that maybe might be already in your country, etc. Okay, so let's talk some practicalities now, as I realize I've probably talked enough about around the subject. So how exactly do you apply to Bristol? So assuming that most of you are interested in undergraduate study here at the university, you would go onto our website, bristol.ac.uk, search for undergraduate courses. So you would look for what subjects and courses interest you. You can then look at the course pages, find out more about that particular course and the entry requirements. And this is where, for example, Global Education can give you a lot of support in all of this process and understanding how your grades match up to the typical entry requirements that we have for our courses, what sort of courses might be of interest to you. I'm also very happy to answer any questions that you may have, obviously now, during the webinar and also after. After that, there's a second stage, of course, that you apply, and for undergraduate courses, that would be typically through UCAS, so a centralized application service. Then when you get your results, or before you get your results, you'll get the replies from the universities. You'll make a decision to in terms of which offer or offers to accept. And then following that, then you would be preparing to travel and start your studies. So to briefly touch on entry requirements, we're looking for applicants with the NSC and grades of, as we say here, 7, 6, and 5, but typically we're really looking for kind of grades of 7s and 6s. So scoring fairly highly. Obviously, certain subjects have higher entry requirements and more specific entry requirements than others. And we unfortunately can't accept a life orientation. So we require good grades in 5 subjects, excluding life orientation. If you're studying the IB or British A levels, then there are also very specific requirements on that. So if you have a question about entry requirements for any particular course, you can very easily email me, or Global can get in touch with me, and I'll be happy to let them know. In terms of applicants and offer holder timeline, so the undergraduate application deadline is 29th of January. So there's still quite a lot of time until that. The only one earlier than that, of course, is the Oxbridge deadline, which is it's the middle of October, and that's also the deadline for dentistry, medicine, and veterinary sciences. So if you're interested in any of those, then obviously the deadline's coming up soon. But for everyone else, then in practical purposes, the first deadline is 29th of January. That's the deadline by which your offer, your application will be considered. And then obviously there are late applicants. So if you don't make that deadline, then it's not to say you shouldn't apply later. There are multiple deadlines throughout the year. Last few slides now, just to say we have a dedicated visa support team that can help you with any of those questions. More interesting though, if you go onto our website and search for Virtual Bristol, we did run a number of webinars throughout last week that are all subject specific, where our tutors and lecturers will have spoken typically for about half an hour, 40 minutes, specifically about a course or a set of courses. So for example, economics that is taught at Bristol. In that webinar, they will say very detailed information about the course, so you can really understand what it's like to study that course at Bristol. And then after that, there was a section for Q&A, so questions and answers. Yes, if you're interested in any particular course, I would say do have a look on our website, because we always record these webinars and they are there for you to find out more about them. Also, we have a little bit of our website that has a little virtual tour, so you can have a little explore of Bristol and what it looks like. As I mentioned, you can really see how green the city is, how many trees there are in amongst the buildings, and the fact that we're surrounded by these green, luscious hills. So I think that was it really. So I think we can pass on to the Q&A session now.
Matteo, thank you very much. It's great to see Bristol, that picture at the end there. I don't think it does it real justice. I was on the virtual presentation the other day, and it was great to see it. It's much better than just the picture. So I do ask everybody, I will put that link in the newsletter that will come after this webinar for people to see. It really is green hills, like on the university. Was the city was built around the university or vice versa? And it is a city, not a town, like the UK.
It's a city, and it's a university that was slowly expanded through private, essentially, investment in the university. So some buildings were built, specifically some buildings were bought. That's why we have a real privilege of being right in the center of the city, on a big hill overlooking the surrounding hillsides. And to come back to your comment about the green verdant hills, it's somewhat somewhat similar to the Shire from Lord of the Rings, if you like. It's the West Country in the UK. It's really the Hobbit land, if you like, but it is very green throughout the year, and very rolling hills around here. So very beautiful.
Yeah, and it's a lot of my friends who studied in the UK, and a lot of the students that we've sent to the UK, the one thing that stands out with University of Bristol is that impact you get of really being at this prestigious sort of place, and not having that feel of being elitist. Is that something that the university was cognitive and aware of, and making sure the student unions are a big part of the culture of studying there at Bristol?
So I guess it's I'm not sure how that came about. We, as a city, there are a lot of there's a lot of, should we say, free thinkers. It's a very some maybe radical elements, but definitely lots of sustainability, lots of artists. It's that maybe somewhat countercultural elements that then make the academic environment very, very rich and diverse. It's a place where you can really champion any idea, whereby if you can back your facts up, back your ideas up with facts. And it's somewhere where really great ideas can come to the forth. And so we have a business incubator, for example, that's one of the leading ones in the UK. So here, that's all about helping the spin out of knowledge from the university environment to something that can be used by R&D in companies, and then getting that and obviously patenting it, and then building a business around it, and then building that business. So that's based just by the main train station, Temple Quarter.
One of the slides you had up there was the student support services, and it's a lot of it's amazing how a lot of students are asking for these things when they're requesting information from global on different universities. And the one thing that always sticks out is the support services, especially with this pandemic world, and the world being more aware of the mental stresses that we all go through, and the anxiety. So it's great to see all those services. But in reality, is it like a big building that students can walk into, or is it like online services available? Is it a mix of both? What does it really feel like?
Yes, there are all sorts. So thank you for bringing that up. As we all know, the pandemic has wrought havoc on many people's mental health, and it can't have been easy for the students who came last year right at the beginning of lockdown. So um, we have invested a lot in support and in health services. So as I mentioned, there's two things: there's the well-being service, there's the counselling service. There are, for example, 24-hour hotlines that are staffed by staff, but also by students who are being paid. So aside from their studies, they can do part-time work and essentially manning the phones so that, you have a question at 3 in the morning and you're feeling maybe lonely. There's someone at the other end of the phone who you can call and you can ask a question to. In terms of mental health, there's all sorts of work that we've been doing to support students to talk about mental health, because that's obviously the first step to say, okay, maybe I'm not feeling great, and it's okay to talk about it, and then to think, okay, well, why is this, and what steps can I take to address this? And these are all systems and processes that we've put in place to really support our students. Um, Aside from the kind of virtual stuff, there are buildings. So the Global Lounge, I actually just went to visit today. So it's a new space within Senate House. So a large building that used to be just university staff that actually has been completely more or less emptied from staff and just redesigned with students in mind. So there's a large cafe, an open foyer, kind of like multi-use area, but then on different floors there are different services. The student services is now there, and there's the Global Lounge where essentially there's a bit of everything in the Global Lounge. We help cross-cultural collaboration and dissemination. So we celebrate everyone's cultures. Um, we celebrate maybe your festivals, and we help interaction and learning between English students and foreign students. And uh, it's really a melting pot of all these kind of opportunities.
Yeah, it really is. It's great to see that as well. It's something that's becoming more and more important, and especially from Zimbabwean and South African perspective, where it's a family decision to go and study internationally, and a lot of parents are more aware of it as well, and the support that students get. You mentioned the business incubator a couple of minutes ago. But in terms of the alumni side of things, do those support services and sort of like the career services, do those carry on for alumni students? Is it accessible?
So the career service mainly, the best resources are available once you have a University of Bristol login. So that's then valid throughout the time as a student, and there's all sorts of support that's available there. Then once you're an alumnus, then there are all sorts of events and mailing lists, and there's a networking software. I'd say it's a very basic version of maybe a Facebook or whatnot, where essentially it's the Bristol Connect network. And so I've been on it, for example, and I said, okay, well, in South Africa, who is there who's who's a Bristol alumnus? And then I get a certain number, and then I can drill down and say, okay, well, who did economics? And I can see who studied economics within. Obviously, it's not the alumni need to voluntarily be up there, so it's not a kind of spying on everyone. It's very much that people want to show other students of the university that they've studied at Bristol, and that they can contact them. So I've done that multiple times. So I deal with, for example, Nigeria and Kenya, and I've reached out to alumni via the LinkedIn, and I've said, I found you via Bristol Connects. As and when I travel to Kenya or to Nigeria, would you be interested in participating in an event to tell other students about it? So that's the kind of work that, for example, I'm involved in, and I'm sure that the alumni colleagues themselves would be able to say a lot more about that and the great activities that they do.
Matteo, one of the earlier questions that Eleanor put in, Eleanor, thank you very much for joining us on the webinar. Eleanor, if you'd like to speak directly with Matteo and myself, we're welcome to give you the voice access as well. So just do let me know in the chat box. One of the questions was asking about the conversion of the IEB marks at matric level for the UK. Could you go a little bit into that? I know if you want to share your screen again, Matteo, you're welcome to as well. I think it'd be good to just go over the requirements again.
Sure. Is that yes, is that for the NSC or the International Baccalaureate, or is it a separate qualification?
The matric, the matric results, the IEB.
Okay.
NSC is the same.
Okay, great. So did you have a subject in particular, Eleanor, that you were interested in? I won't be able to share the actual spreadsheet as I have that on another screen, so I'm kind of looking left and right, but I could give an example. So let's say, for example, business and management. And if you spot the actual subject that she's interested in, then I could address that. Right, so just give me one moment. Okay, so management, Bachelor of Science from South Africa.
Yeah. I don't know if you could let us know which course you're looking at the university to study. That's the best place to start.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so, and just let me move my laptop slightly. So for management, the Bachelor of Science at undergraduate level, we'll be looking for 77666, excluding life orientation. And then also mathematics with a 4 and mathematical literacy at a 6.
Pre-year for veterinary is where she's looking at.
Okay, pre-vet, that's a not very straightforward one, but I will try and see if we can get some information about that. Bear with me.
And while Matteo looks that up on his side, and it's great that we've got him here where we can actually do this. So thank you very much. Global helps specialize in looking out for what you need in these types of courses, especially with medical, veterinarian, that. So I will get you in touch with our head office in Johannesburg, who can have that one-to-one conversation. There's a lot that you need to look at when you're making those applications as well, not just your grades. So definitely, please do get in touch, and all our services are free. Not many people know us in South Africa, and we've been around for 15 years. So please do reach out.
Okay, so I don't have any information for pre-vet, unfortunately, but I have information for veterinary science itself, which would be 77666, including a 7 in physical sciences, and then either life sciences or maths or advanced maths also at 7. So obviously, as you can appreciate, there are fairly high entry requirements, but we are one of the highest ranked universities. We're a high ranking university in the UK. So we are quite a popular university to apply to. So we do look to attract the best and brightest, and the students who are here, who do achieve well academically.
No, and Matteo, just on that point as well, with high achievers, who've got access to really good grades and lots of institutions to choose for, what's the one thing that you'd say to them to consider Bristol as, should be their first choice?
Okay, so look really specifically by subject. So you can look at by ranking tables. So certain subjects we really punch above our weight. So for example, if you're interested in engineering, general engineering, we're second in the UK. For civil engineering, I believe we're fourth. Certain faculties are really fantastic. Again, engineering, one of the reasons for that is that we're close to a globally competitive supercluster of engineering firms. So Airbus, the airplane manufacturer, Rolls-Royce, the turbine manufacturer. There are some defense contractors who are all based in and around the Bristol area, because historically we have a lot of aerospace and industry around here. Jaguar Land Rover is based just in the Midlands. So essentially look at the rankings of your subject, and you'll see that a number of these are ranked very highly, more highly than we do as a university as a whole. Aside from that, it's the quality of life as a student, and just in the city as a whole. Bristol's a small city. You can get around very easily. It's a really pleasant city to live in for 3 years, to study in, and to visit. So, for example, if your parents were to visit you while you're studying, or when you have holidays, Wales is just on the doorstep. So I really like going to the mountains, and so I go to Wales anytime that I can. And it's a quick 1 hour drive to the closest mountains, and the larger mountains in Wales are maybe 2.5 hours drive. So it's the outdoor spaces and the liveliness of the city, and the arts scene, the music scene, how interesting it is culturally, that really make it stand out. And it's difficult to convey that. It's difficult if you haven't been here, but the people who come here and they visit and they say, wow, it actually is very special in the UK. It's very unique, actually.
Yeah. It's one thing that a lot of South Africans and Zimbabweans and myself especially, like you don't really think of that landscape and that mountain. When you think of the UK, you think of London, busyness and the industrial side of
And
things.
it being flat, right? But
flat, yeah, exactly.
The hills around here are fantastic. I can tell you, if you start cycling around here, you'll get some good strong legs, because there's plenty of hills in and around the city for sure.
Matteo, just a little bit on Eleanor's case here. If she was doing science, where a lot of schools in South Africa do science as two parts, both biology and then physics and chemistry. If hypothetically bio was a 7 and physics science a 6, would that be considered, or would you require the 7-7? And I know it's complicated and would depend on all the results and case by case scenario, but where would that sit?
I think it depends on a case by case scenario. I wouldn't be able to give a direct answer now. It'd be better if we follow that up offline. I always say typical offers and typical entry requirements, because every application is unique, and we do really grade each application on its own merits. To recap, we do first look at academic qualifications, but then to differentiate candidates with similar academic qualifications, we really are looking at things like the personal statements and how you can put yourself forward, the reason why you want to study that particular subject. There's a lot of information about this on the course pages, and particularly in the admission statement. So when I go course by course with students who are interested, then I just tell them, okay, look at the admission statement. You can see really what we're looking for on an individual basis. It's just the pre-vet, unfortunately, I just don't have enough information to provide more of that of use now.
And that's not a bad thing, and we look forward to getting in touch with you. Just for your remark earlier about the British passport, if you are, I don't know if you want to answer this one.
I can answer that. Yes. Typically, the decision as to whether you're a home or an international fee-paying student is based on residency. It's not based on nationality. So again, I can share the link as to where that information is held on the University of Bristol website. But typically, if you're residing in South Africa, you would probably classify for international fees rather than home fees.
And you wouldn't have a student visa, though. That's the difference. That's one of the pluses of having the British passport in South Africa as well. So you wouldn't require the student visa. So I don't know, we do look forward to assisting you and getting you in touch with Matteo directly for a one-to-one. So she's just saying, I've looked at that, but we're moving back to the UK after I finish matric this year. Great. Definitely do get in touch, and let's get you the right info as well. All right. To anybody else listening as well, any other questions, please put them in the chat box. I'm not going to let Matteo go until we've answered all your questions. I know
absolutely. That's what I'm here for.
Matteo, I've got a couple of questions come through from the school counselors, in the research for this webinar and the resharing of this content. The sports side of it at Bristol, a lot of South African, female, male play really competitive sports: netball, hockey, cricket, rugby, football. Where does Bristol sit in the club rankings? Are they part of Bucks?
It's a really good question. So we have a very vibrant student community for sports. It's the old work hard, play hard ethics that you can see throughout the university. In fact, there was a really great news story about the number of Olympians who were University of Bristol, either current students or alumni who were competing in the current Olympics. I don't have it to hand, but essentially, there are all the sports that you would like to play are represented here. The immediate level is intramural, so playing against other teams within the university. If you're good enough, then you can play against other teams within the UK. And I wouldn't know, for example, the how good the rugby team is compared to other teams across the UK, but it's something that we can certainly find out for you. So we can just message the club captain of the rugby team, men's, women's, and they'll be very happy to provide all sorts of information about playing any sport that you're interested in here at Bristol. In fact, I will maybe share the Bristol SU web page in the chat window, and then the students who are joining us today can get that information directly. Here we go. So via Bristol.
I'll also add this to the newsletter as well at the end of the webinar.
So they can just search on student groups, or they just use the search box in the corner, and I don't know, for example, rugby, and there we go, women's rugby, give it a go. Okay, and there's all sorts of fantastic groups. So there we go, rugby union men's. Okay, I don't think it says how well that ranked they are, but I'm sure that we can find this out.
Brilliant. If anybody has got any more questions, please put them in the chat box. Matteo, one place that I always ask for our webinars during this virtual expo is what's one place that students should definitely visit when they arrive. You've mentioned the mountains, you've mentioned the hills. Where's one place they should go and visit as well once they arrive?
Okay, so the right, let's get a good photo up for you. In fact, I'll leave it to your imagination rather than show it to you, because there is Bristol was the second largest city in the UK, and it's a Victorian city. So Victorian. Oh, bear with me just a moment. My phone seems to be going off. Okay, so the Clifton Suspension Bridge is it. At the time, it was the longest bridge in the world at the time of construction. The engineer who devised it didn't even live to see its completion. He built it. He's called Isambard Kingdom Brunel. He's a famous a Victorian engineer with a top hat and a pipe. So a very charismatic figure who built the Great Western Railway and was one of these kind of industrial heroes of the England of times gone by. And he built this fantastic bridge, which is still probably the most iconic building in the city, and it connects to it connects the Avon Gorge. So it's this very, very old, 150-year-old suspension bridge that's overlooking the whole of the city. So just walking across that bridge, especially by night, and seeing all the lights below and then coming back is just the thing to do if you have one day in Bristol.
Definitely, and I challenge everybody, if you do apply, Eleanor as well, or Zelia, anybody that's on this webinar, do take that walk for us and send them through to us. I'm going to put our contact details on here on the screen, and you're welcome to get in touch with us and to follow us as well. Please do get in touch. We'll gladly get you in touch with Matteo for that one-to-one consultation. Oh, sorry, one more question here. Matteo,
I've seen that. Yes, absolutely. And we did touch on scholarships, but I'm happy to share that link in the chat window. We have over £2 million worth of scholarships to award in 2022. They are mainly the Think Big undergraduate and the Think Big postgraduate scholarships. And in brief, the application process for that is competitive, but it's quite simple. It's 3 questions, and it's about tell us about your academic achievements and essentially what makes you worthy of you know, a scholarship. Why should we support you? Be the best you can be at our university. And part 2 is tell us about examples where you gave back to your community. So show us when you're, be that at school, be that in your community where you live, but tell us some outstanding examples about how you're giving back. And part 3 is something that also really helps to, in my view, it's something that also really helps shape maybe a personal statement or something like that. It's part 3 is tell us why you chose this particular course at Bristol and why the University of Bristol in particular, and tell us why this would be a really good stepping stone, why you chose this course and our university as a stepping stone to your chosen future career. So that's not to say that the applying for these scholarships is easy. It's a competitive process against students such as yourself who maybe do have some excellent academic qualifications. So it is competitive, but we do have lots of scholarships available. So check out the link that I shared in the chat window. Ask us any questions. We do have recorded webinars about scholarships, so I'd be very happy to share those, or you can find those on our website.
I think that's some really good pro tips there from you, Matteo. And I think that's where we should end it if we haven't got any more questions. We'll give it a couple more seconds. I think that's where we should end it, Matteo, on that great inside information there. And
Brilliant.
Really appreciate your time from all of us.
Thanks. Thanks very much, George. It's been brilliant.
Sorry, we just cut you out there, Matteo. Sorry, apologies for that.
No problem at all. So thank you everyone for joining, and I hope the webinar has been useful. And thank you very much, George, and to everyone at the Global Education team. I'm just at the other end of an email. The Global Education team are just at the end of a phone call or an email. So please do make use of all their resources, and they're very happy to contact me and ask me any questions that they wouldn't they don't know the answer to. So between them and us, I'm sure we can help you in your decision to hopefully choose Bristol for your undergraduate studies in the UK.
Brilliant. Thank you, Matteo, and to everybody, keep safe, and we'll see you on the next webinar.
Take care. All the best.